Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Today we're here for round 4 of our Audi TT trophy on the original SL Corsa. And we've come to quite an interesting track for this evening. High speed, a lot of straights, plenty of places to utilise the push to pass. We are at Watkins, Glen, and we are at the special classic layout, skipping the bus stop chicane, or the inner loop chicane as you can see in front of us, the cones blocking it off. And on the short layout, no boot section, nice short lap times, keeping the pace up, keeping top speed. Quite the priority here. The slipstreaming opportunities, as we mentioned, but should make for some great racing, especially that third reverse grid race coming up a little bit later. Qualifying is just getting started. So cars on their first flying laps. But let's just have a quick check of the standings before we get into it. Alfie Bevan leads the way, 12 points ahead of James Le Pivot. But then a bit of a gap down to Johan Karlzak, 70 points back. That's a big gap if he wants to take this title. You're going to need a good second half of the series. Behind that we have Yuri Shore in 4th, Ashhill in 5th, Jacob Hind in P6, Zach Silver 7th, and that continues on down. They'll look at the class standings. Alfie Bevan, of course, leads the way. I have James Pivot. Johan a little bit closer, not having had any AM cars get in the way of those results. And yeah, that pro standings very similar to the overall. In the AM standings, it's Sean McArdle that leads the way. Only an 8-point gap to Anton Kankos. So that looks like it'll be a good fight for the lead. And it'll be a good fight for the top 3 with Krona Blitz, Alex Wood tied on points currently in 3rd place. Very close. We have 1 point separating Ben Beams, Adam Ely, and the second Adam from 5th, 6th, and 7th. All on 114 or 113 points. Lucas Smith's not too far back either. They could certainly drag themselves into that battle. But as I said, we are into qualifying. It is a short session. At the moment, it is Pivot who's leading the way in the quali session. We will just have a quick look at the times. Look how close that is. 32 thousandths at the top of the timesheets as they come through, completing their second qualifying laps. And yeah, we will let's jump on board with Pivot and go for a lap here of Watkins Glen up through the S's. Easy flat out in these cars as you climb the hill, expecting most if not all drivers to be on minimum aero. As you can see, some of the AM drivers putting times in a little further back. Slipstreaming could be mega here as you make the run up to the outer loop, skipping the inner loop chicane over the crest, braking into the long right-hander, and it's that little bit longer here, taking the short layout. Don't run the car too wide over the curb as it's a long run still to the penultimate corner. Not as long as that run up to outer loop, but still reasonably long. High speed penultimate corner, swing the car in, careful not to go too wide. That's maybe an invalidation there from Pivot running too wide. That leads you into the final corner, very important corner. Don't run too wide, you'll hit the wall. If you do, you'll want to carry as much momentum onto the start finish line as not only to finish your lap but to start another flying lap. Let's see if anyone's on a good lap. Zach Silver bumps themselves up to P4. Ashhill in a bit of a train here. Let's see one of the cars into the barrier. That might have been Krona Blitz. Ashhill improving up to P8. Niels Bernson coming through the final corner will improve up to P12 with a 114.1. I love drivers returning to the pits as Niels runs out wide. I think will invalidate that lap on the exit. But Zach Silver, who's had a really good start, and look at that, is trying to grab a bit of slipstream from a slow moving car on the run up to the outer loop. Now through the long right-hander, half a tenth up by the end of sector 1, which is right at the top of the S's. Lost a little bit of time in sector 2, which is primarily just the run up to the outer loop and the outer loop itself. Final 2 corners then, which make up the final sector, just about keeps a couple of wheels on the curb into the final corner. Now is on a provisional pole lap, but have these final 2 corners been good enough to keep the pace up, Up to the line then now for Zach Silver, and it is not an improvement. 0.04 of a second slower than their previous best lap, and they'll have to go again. Alex Wood, 3/10 down, currently sitting in 13th place with a 1:14.3, 1.3 seconds off the top, but looking like a much better lap here through the final corner now as Alfie Bevan pops in a 1:12.7 and puts themselves top of the timesheets. Didn't see that one coming. They had a really good final sector. Alex Swood, 1:14.0, good enough to get themselves up to P12. Let's go back to Zach Silver, who looks like they've run very wide here through the outer loop. And yeah, I don't think that's going to be improvement. They take to a runoff as a couple of cars coming up behind them. One of them is Pavot, who's been trying to get a bit of a distant slipstream here, heading towards the penultimate corner. As Alf Bevan improving in the first sector once again, but it's only by 1/100th. Pavot, though, losing a bit of time through the outer loop, maybe a little bit distracted with the traffic around them. As now heading up to the line, and will not improve. A couple of attempts down. Let's watch Alfie Bevan through the final two corners. Currently sitting in provisional pole at 400ths down, using a lot of track through that final or penultimate corner into the final corner now, running right up to the wall but avoids it. The car behind, though, not avoiding it. That was Sean McGardle pushing a little too hard through the final corner. A tenth down on that lap for Alfie Bevan. We look to the second, Adam, who's of course in that AM Championship fight with Adam Ide. They're improving. They're half a second down on the top time of Alfie Bevan, but it's still a personal best at this stage. Not using as much of the track on the exit of the penultimate corner, maybe giving up a bit of time there compared to some of the quicker drivers. Through the final corner, gets into the wall. That's going to slow their momentum down to the final corner, to the start finish line, but is still an improvement up to 8th position. Let's go to Alfie Bevan. In fact, let's go to Pavot, who's on a personal best here, coming out of the final corner. He gets into the wall as well through the final corner and is going to abort that lap. Alfie Bevan getting a little bit of slipstream and the car letting them through. That's Stevie Bean just helping Alfie Bevan out. There is 2,000ths up by the time they get to the end of Sector 2. Final two corners then. Can Alfie improve on that 1:12.785? Coming up to the line now, will be starting their final flying lap. It's 1:12.9, so losing a bit of time in that final sector. Ben Beams coming out of the outer loop, just over a half second down on the top time, but again on a personal best. Through final two corners, again not using too much curb out of the penultimate corner there. Into the final corner here. Seems to be being a bit more cautious. I think a bit of a bad gear shift there. Maybe lost a bit of time. Up to line is improvement. Beats Niels Berntsen by 2,000ths of a second. Very close fight there. Ash Hill coming out of outer loop. Was on a personal best. Lost the time in the middle sector and won't make the track. Alfie Bevan was improving, but has decided, thinks they've got pole position with the rest of the top four into the pits. Has taken to have a little trip around the boot section of the track, but the game has had enough of that. Niels Berntsen, one of the few cars improving, might get a bit of a slipstream run here, though, leaving a bit of time on the exit of the outer loop there in the slipstream now. Though if the car is on a lap, that is Lucas Smits, who moves out of the way and will let Niels through to finish their lap through the final couple of corners now. Can Niels bump themselves back in front of Ben Beams? Only needs 2,000ths of a second, and they find it into the 13th as well. Just 17,000ths then off the top time. And those are the final qualifying gaps as Ben Beams comes across the line. does actually improve on that final lap, but was not enough to get themselves back in front of Niels. So that is Alfie Bevan that will be on pole position ahead of James Le Pavot as they fight for the championship lead. Johan Kralzak only in P3 will need to try and fight their way to the front if they want to get themselves back into this championship. Zach Silver, P4, with Sean McArdle taking the amateur pole in P5. They've had a good qualifying session. It'll be interesting to see if they can hold themselves in that top 5 overall. Stevie Bean will start from P6, ahead of Jacob Hine in P7. Our other Adam will be in P8, have Alex Wood in P9. Ash Hill is down in P10. Anton Kankos is in 11th, a lot of places behind Sean McArdle. They're going to need a good race to not lose out too many points to Sean, ahead of Lucas Mitz in P12. Niels Branson is in 13th, Ben Beams is in 14th, Ben Might in 15th, and Chronoblitz in P16. Interesting to see there. Driver with the lowest top speed of everyone was Anton Kankos, maybe running a little bit of rear wing that will be holding them back. As you can see, top speed very essential through here. The extra bit of wing angle doesn't really help it. In fact, apparently a couple of drivers even running minimum wing last week at Road Atlanta. So here are the drivers on the grid as they adjust their fuels for our 15-minute plus 1 lap race. I believe someone said it'll be a 14-lap race. Love push pass potential. Someone said that could use it as much as 3 times per lap. Maybe not the most efficient way, but if you're in a big battle, you know, that could be very key to getting yourself in front. Not long till we go racing for the first time here at Watkins Glen on the short classic layout. The lights about to come on. And here they come. The engine revs will rise for the first time. And we're away for the first race. It looked like a good start from Johan in 3rd. Let's see as the drivers come to T1. Johan challenging to the inside of Pavot. Zach Silver in the background looking for a bit of space. But the side-by-side battle for second is just allowing Alfie to pull away. Already on the push pass. Zach Silver using one off the start. Pavot using one to defend second place from Kralzak. And you can see the field in the background using quite a few as they head up a slipstream, very powerful. Even with using push pass, Johan has now used one a little later up through the S's to try and take second place back. Johan in the slipstream of our leader Alfie. It's not enough to stop Johan from getting in front as they head into the outer loop now. Long right-hander Sean McArdle has fallen all the way to P9 at 3rd within the AMS class, but is fighting. Is now 3 wide on the exit. A bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, throwing them sideways, and that side Alex Wood to come take advantage here. Zach Silver using a push to pass, get themselves up to the top 3, and this is not going well for Pavot if he wants to be fighting for the lead. Side by side through penultimate corner, it's getting twitchy. They bang wheels, and it's contact through the final corner. Someone's into the outside wall, getting spun around. That's Stevie Bean facing the wrong way. Jacob Hine into the wall as well. Will continue facing the right way, but has lost a lot of momentum and will fall down into the pack behind. I love the AM drivers trying to stay out of trouble as they head through T1. Look at the field as they come through. Up the S's now, looking for a bit of slipstream. But yeah, Jacob Hine, Stevie Bean and Ash Hill dropping to the back of the field. Certainly going to set them back in the overall championship. But here we have Alex Wood making a move on Niels Berntsen for P6 overall. Sean McArdle trying to follow through is going to be stuck on the inside of the inner loop, but running wide there is Niels Berntsen. Is going to give a place up to Anton Kankos as well, and could cause some more positions as they come out of the outer loop. Momentum very important. You can see the battle further back as we have position swaps further up as we come into the penultimate corner. Alex Wood going around the outside of Sean McArdle, stuck on the inside, who might lose 3 positions as Niels Barnson throws the nose up the inside of the final corner. Won't have the momentum on the exit. Sean trying to use a push to pass to come back at Anton Kankos, but they're also using a push to pass themselves into the final corner now. Who's going to win it? Look at Niels Barnson trying to find the gap, and Sean McArdle getting a very poor run through that opening corner is going to lose out to Ben Might, and Kroneblitz not having any momentum to climb the S's. And Kroneblitz also getting in front of Ben Might there as well. Meanwhile, front of the field, Johan Kralzak in P2 trying to keep up with Alfie Bevan. Has used one more of their push to pass, but it's just sort of following. Doesn't seem to be putting too much pressure on our leader at the moment. Just keeping them honest. Any mistake could allow them to pounce. They have to imagine Alfie Bevan, even if they do fall to second, will be not staying there for long, will be keeping the pressure on for the lead. Krumblitz and Ben Might still fighting away over P9. This is allowing Sean McArdle to catch back up, but Sean is going to have to try and find a gap as they fight side by side through the penultimate corner now. Krumblitz on the outside holds the position now for now. On the inside of the final corner will get the move done. Sean looking for a gap, but not quite able to carry enough momentum through the final corner to make a move, saving the push to pass at this stage of the race. Still 11 minutes to go. Joining me now in the commentary box a little bit late in this frantic first race, it is Aidan Hard, who is hopefully here back with us.
I'm going to speak. I hope I'm heard.
You are heard.
Good evening. Yes, a PC exposed about a week ago, so I'm now limited to a goodness knows how many years old laptop, which at this point may as well be a hieroglyphics kind of tablet thing. I think chiseling in words to a piece of stone would be quicker than this brick, but I'm here nonetheless. It's good to be with you guys. Apologies for the delay, Slotty. Good evening to you as well.
Good evening. Yes, we should keep up with this first race because there's still plenty of fighting going on here in the AMS field. Look at them all coming to the penultimate corner. Sean McArdle trying to find a way. The driver's practically queuing behind Ben Mai at this point, trying to find a way past. Sean McArdle not able to find one just yet. Remember, having qualified in P5, being done in 11th is quite a disappointing race so far.
Oh god, that is a massive loss, as I'm presuming it's for Sean. And joining the back of the train behind Brunston, is that for P8 as well? So that is going to be a battle to watch. However, Smith's taking a bit of an opportunity to get past Ben Beams up through the S's, side by side, front wheel power pushing them along, and almost door banging one another to try and maybe compromise one another on the going up into the back straight. They're able to sort it out, only for Luca to tuck back into the slipstream. No chicane here with this format of the circuit, and that is actually move done before the braking zone.
It's a very short braking zone into the outer loop. Lucas Smith's looking around the outside, runs a little bit wide on the exit, will tuck into slipstream to try and find a move towards penultimate corner. Field starting to spread out a little bit more in the front half, but this back half of the field still nearly bumper to bumper. Ben running a little bit wider, is going to defend the inside line from Sean McArdle. Could allow Sean to get the run, get momentum, and look at the momentum they've carried through final corner. Got themselves alongside. No push pass usage between these two drivers as nothing separates them coming into T1. Sean on the inside here. Ben ambitious around the outside, sends it round and will hold on to P10 for now as Blitz and Niels Barnson fight side by side in front, and Sean using a push to pass to try and come back at Ben here, has got themselves back in front, but where they gonna go? Contacted. Niels Barnson is sideways across the S's, luckily doesn't get collected too much as we're nearly halfway into the race.
You never want to see a car going sideways through the S's. It's just a rolling robot. Thankfully, now the traffic around them. But look at Ben getting up into a P8 now. He's a net gaining from that little kerfuffle going through the first sector, and now Smits and McArdle fighting it out for what is essentially scraps in this little midfield battle. A run now blitz on Ben Mai at the outside line will prove will prove helpful if he can hold it there. Oh god, please don't go 3 wide. That is 3 wide. They're going 3 wide into the penultimate turn. And someone's going to have to yield. Please, for the love of God, there's contact in the background. And that is Beams off into the wall.
Yeah, Beams was on the inside of that 3 wide. He did back out, but just going a bit slower, got tangled with someone just behind him. Didn't quite see who it was that tagged them and spun them round. But that is one place gain for Sean McArdle, who, despite the chaos at the start of the previous lap, did still lost a couple of places. Lucas Smith's running very wide there for the first corner, going to compromise them up the hill. As Blitz still on the back of Ben Might, using a push to pass to close themselves in with the slipstream. Ben, with being a bit more conservative on their push to pass, is using one now at the top of the hill to try and fend off Krona.
That straight line to me is going to help him massively. Krona may have an opportunity to run it up the inside. Nope, thinks better of it to push the pass, enabling Ben just to hold that 8th position. However, is looking to be under threat from Krona. Ben Beams, however, getting back past McArdle, fighting with McArdle as they go through into the final sector. Oh, that's Stevie Baines, I stand corrected, as they're fighting with 12 and 30. Oh, Beams has dropped off this pack. As Ben Meyer still fighting away with Blitz going into the penultimate turn. It's now going to bring the whole midfield pack close together, and a bit of a shoulder barge like from the yellow and white car of Smith, and a bit of a flash of lights as well. As they go through down the main start finish straight, they're going to remain in this almost 2x2 configuration as they go into turn 1. Ben leading them away in the background. Smith getting past Blitz as Ben goes mightily wide down the exit the first turn. That's going to compromise him now, and he's going to have to be using that push to pass once more, I do think.
Ben seems to like waiting for the top of the hill, which might be a bit clever here. It's difficult to get yourself side by side through the S's as you just cover off the apex, and there gets to the top onto the push to pass to clear themselves, especially as they're dishing out the slipstream. Sean McArdle with a run here on Krona Blitz, who's dropped to the back for this pack, has the run too on Lucas Smith, who has opted not to use a push to pass at the top of the hill, but just manages to stay in front. Krona Blitz trying to find a bit of space on the inside of the outer loop, and Ben Might, per run through the outer loop, immediately pulls over to defend, will be the outside to the penultimate corner, but it's now 3 wide as they come into this penultimate corner. Hopefully it doesn't end in disaster. Looks like Ben Might still somehow coming out on top. Sean McArdle losing out to Krona Blitz now into the final corner, a little bit wide there for the Smith's, going to compromise them. Sean with the acceleration off the final corner is got themselves alongside, will be on the inside for T1 on Krona Blitz. Can they get the move done? Careful not to run into the back of Lucas Smith's. Looks like they've got done, and now Ben Might just opening up a little bit of a gap to Lucas Smith's, though they're using a push to pass coming out of T1.
Absolutely. Ben actually given a bit of breathing room now with those guys fighting behind him. But I say that, Smith's closed that gap going through the S's. It is a 4-car train all aboard the Ben train for this midfield battle. And overall, it is 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th in the AMS class. Not a podium position for AMS, but still fighting away. A little bit further down the field now. This is Ash Hill defending from the Scotsman, Stevie Baines. They make a move into the long right-hander as we go back to this midfield battle. The closest back we have really, that's a nudge from the back, but Ben looks to be compromised here in the middle now of this 3-way battle. Is that up the inside for Luca? It's McArdle. It's Sean McArdle making a move.
Sean McArdle getting in front. Lucas Smith's losing out, even having used a push to pass in that section, but finally Sean has got themselves to the front of this pack. Can they stay there though? That's the question. Dishing out all the slipstream. Look at the cars looking to the inside as they come to turn 1. Again, Ben running a little bit wide, and it's going to save that push to pass for the top of the hill. Krona Blitz using theirs early to try and get in front, but drivers a bit earlier this time to try and cover off here. Ben Might
Yeah,
Trying to get the
absolutely.
acceleration, the slipstream on Sean McGardle is closing in quite a lot. Sean has now used a push to pass to try and respond to Ben Might, who pulls out of the slipstream, will be alongside and will have the nose in front coming to the outer loop. Sean just a little too there on the push to pass. Ben all over the grass on the inside.
Ooh.
That's not going to help them as Sean carries the momentum on the outside. Ben Might just getting
the
a little tap from Chronoblitz.
Massive crash.
Or that was from Lucas Smith's apologies, and Chronoblitz unfortunately collected as Ben Might tried to drain the car up. But yeah, Chronoblitz, Ben Might, very unfortunate way for that battle for 8th place to come to an end.
A little tap on the rear, wasn't it? That's all that did it. That sent Ben round, and unfortunately, yes, Chronoblitz, who let's not forget was fighting in that little midfield pack of cars, has been collateral damage as Ben immediately dies to the pits by the looks of it. And Lucas Smith and Ricardo will continue to fight as they go through into the latter parts of this race. Only 2 minutes to go of this first quarter of an hour race. 2 more to come, and we'll see these guys fight it out 2 more times. There's plenty of opportunities to make back positions, points. Don't rule out another midfield fight between these drivers in the next couple of races if they remain as close as they have been on this first race. Pavot down to third. Pavot looks to have started on the front row of the grid. However, he's dropped that position to third, hasn't he? He's trying to recover with Karlzak not too far ahead of him. A few car lengths. We'll be getting slipstream, but it looks to be toe-to-toe at the moment with what will be the last lap, penultimate lap.
We will have 3 laps to go.
Ugh.
With the short lap time. Remember, it is 50 minutes plus 1 lap once the timer has expired. So still a few laps. Alfie Bevan down to their last push to pass.
Alright, Sean Connery.
As Lucas Smith also coming into the pit lane, likely to repair damage. But yeah, open up a 3-second gap to Johan, who's just dropped off. Once Johan dropped out of that slipstream, Alfie's just been slowly but surely building that gap. And now Pavot has been eating away at the gap to second, closing in, and will try and put on a late charge to take the lead. The gap is only 6 tenths, so Johan does have 1 extra push to pass. That's becoming a tongue twister now.
Push to pass. That's going to be a new one. But yes, that boost there definitely will be coming in of use, and we see cars actually using a push to pass, a potential just to maybe eke out that gap. So they go now on to the penultimate lap of this race.
Last lap round, Pavot was a few 300ths of a second slower than Johan. Not ideal as he wants to be closing in, and with Johan separating Alfie to Pavot, that's just going to help Alfie increase that lead at the top of the championship standings. That is 12 points coming into this round, and of course will only be increasing with a first for Alfie and a third for Pavot. But doesn't quite look like Pavot's going to be close enough.
Not going to do it, is he? He needs a miracle. He needs a banana skin to be thrown out by Mario for Karlzak to spin. Bevan will be coming to the line for the final time in a few minutes' time. We are just keeping an eye on this midfield battle as well. Kankos catching up with Wood, but I can say going through the last corner now is Alfie Bevan, who will take the checkered flag for the race win. Next up, ignore me.
Don't forget the +1 lap as Anton Kankos catching up to Alex Wood here, looking for a move on the inside for the penultimate corner. But Alex Wood defending the position round the outside will have the inside for the final corner. But Anton Kankos is going to try and return the favour around the outside. It's going to be a drag race down to turn 1. Though when it gets to the exit of the corner, Anton Kankos 2 more pushed passes to use on this final lap to help them try and stay in front. Again, trying to hold around the outside, squeezed by Alex Wood onto the curb. Looks like they've not quite been able to carry the momentum. Has had to back out of the throttle a little bit as Stevie Bean has made a mistake at the penultimate corner and has dropped down a couple of places. But on the push to pass now, Anton Kankos looking to the outside, squeezed over to the grass by Alex Wood. But with that push to pass, Alex Wood, nothing that they can do. And Kankos should have the place, so mentioned was the slowest car in top speed wise of everyone in qualifying, maybe running a little bit more wing, and hasn't got the move done. Alex Wood fighting back and gets the position again. Well, Anton Kankos, so one final push to pass, which they use now, will get them to the inside. We'll come back to that as Alfie Bevan comes through to take the lead. Johan Karlzak will take second, and Pavot will take third. But this fight for second in the AMS class, Alex Wood hanging it round the outside again on the penultimate corner, but it's a final corner for Kankos, so they hold the outside, they carry the momentum. It's a drag race to the line, and Kankos will just about take it by half a tenth.
Kankos getting the second position there. Very nice indeed for him. Alex Wood, give him a fair fight. P5 there also win for that name I definitely can't pronounce. Adam. There we go. P5, but an AM class win for his first race for Adam in there, and one make racing at its absolute best. Wasn't even here for the full race, and they've still got a crap ton of action.
Yeah, and there's only plenty more to come, with 2 more 15-minute plus 1 lap races, the third of which will be a partial reverse grid. Niels Brownson, last car to cross the line. We'll finish our 16-car field. 3 cars falling off of the lead lap, unfortunately. But they will get a chance of redemption in our remaining races.
Indeed. Wow. I'm glad I made it. Apologies for the tardiness. You have to, as I said, you have to blame my. For those who are tech savvy out there, I am currently running no specialized graphics on my laptop, but a nifty 5th generation i3 processor. Yeah, it's a bit glitchy. Apart from that, your final finishing order for race 1: Bevan Karlzak, Pavot Silver, Adam Kankos, Wood McCardle, Hill Smith, Blitz Beams, Brensden, Myatt, Bain, and Hine. What happened to Jacob Hine? Was he a DNF by any chance? I didn't see him.
He had an early incident. Unfortunately dropped him back. So yeah, he'll be one of the drivers looking to make a comeback. So will Stevie Bain, another one who got caught up
in the kerfuffle.
Yeah, Ashhill did make a bit of a recovery, got up to P9 overall, only missing out to 4 of the AM drivers. So they won't be taking such a big punishment when it comes to the overall championship. But yes, it'll be. We'll want to try and make up some points, make up for a disappointing first race in second and third race, which who knows which way that will go, given how the first race has played out.
Yes, absolutely. Second race will be determined by a very quick qualifying session, I do believe. However, are we awaiting a certain Ben Meyer to join us to do the wheel of spinning?
We are indeed, so yes. We will be selecting a position between 10th and 16th for 16-car field this evening, of how many places will be reversed for the third race, based on the results from race 2, which is coming up after a little bit of a warm-up session and a qualifying session. It'll only be a 5-minute qualifying session, where slipstreaming is going to be very important indeed. And yeah, I wonder if also maybe some drivers, especially Anton Kankos, struggling with straight line speed, wonder if we'll see someone like them maybe just changing the setup a little bit, trying to get a little bit more pace, a little bit more straight line speed potentially, as it is very important.
Now, as we speak about him, speak of the devil.
Sorry, I was just shepherding the server to a close.
Close, server. Close. You will close. Good evening, Ben. How are
you? Good evening. Yes, that was fun. Until it wasn't.
Yeah.
You were doing a great job holding on until that little bump. It seemed like such a small bump, but just with AC contact. ended up being a little bit more.
It definitely went a bit bigger than it felt.
You had a very fun trip with Barry R.
Yeah, yes, that was a pity because that was great fun up until that point.
Nice bit
Absolutely
of battle.
brilliant racing.
I know. Well, hopefully that we'll see that for you next couple of races. I do, however, have a very on point branding, might I add. I'm very impressed with this wheel. Ready to spin the wheel for our reverse grid race. Now, this will be for race 3. We'll do a quick qualifying for race 2, but then the finishing order for race 2 will be then determined by this wheel and how they start for the final race this evening. I reckon you're being in the shout with this, Ben.
It could well be, and I think I wouldn't mind being on a reverse grid pole off this one. I've got to admit.
Fixed, rigged. No.
So far this season, we've had low numbers. Well, this be the first high number we see. Let's give it a spin and see. Oh, it's looking it's going to be a little bit higher. Still, 13.
Smack bang in the middle.
That's not bad. That's definitely giving us something to fight for.
Indeed it is. So, final race this evening will be a top 13 reverse grid. Ben.
Yes.
How are things in the voice channel? Whilst we have you, we may as well grill you a little bit. How are things in the oNiD voice channel with everyone racing?
Silent. Everyone has been concentrating so hard on racing that there is not a single word said, apart from the occasional swear when things go wrong.
Yeah, that also figures. Well, Slipstream is key by the looks of it, and those pusher passes did do well as well. So I would presume in the qualifying that we're about to go into, we'll maybe see a couple of cars help each other out a little bit.
I think the rules about racing and qualifying are being slightly relaxed this evening because once you pick up the slipstream, you have to use it.
Yeah.
Because it's not safe to back off because there's cars on the straight behind you.
Yes.
So it's definitely going to be an interesting one, especially in quick qualifying.
Have you got a friend lined up to give you a bit of slipstream work together?
Whoever I can find.
Hello, buddy.
They're not volunteering, but it's going to happen.
Good Lord. Right. Anyway.
I will catch you both later. I'm going to jump back over.
Enjoy. We'll be cheering you on in a non-biased way. Oh, it's always nice to have Mr. Ben Meyer. A Telluride race for him. It turned out to be in P14, but it's supposed to be just one position away from that 30th position, albeit I know he had an accident, but he could be in the show with that. Without being biased to our wonderful volunteer admins who help us run these championships, not just on a Tuesday night, but for all the week as well. It's wonderful. They actually get a chance to partake in some racing, and just hopefully it will involve less crashing, like it did for him on that first race. 2 more opportunities to improve, Scotty. We'll see how he does.
Yes, 2 more opportunities to improve. Hopefully staying out of trouble for these 2 races. But, I mean, with the chaos that we've seen in that first race, it could be a little bit difficult. I mean, it just takes one little mistake, especially at a corner such as the final corner where we've seen the first incident sort of in the pro class. That wall is just waiting on the outside for someone to clip it. When someone does, it's not much the people behind can do to avoid.
Absolutely. So, a brief pause. I believe we are still waiting just for that second lobby to launch, and it should be the same lobby we use for both race 2 and race 3. There shouldn't be another awkward pause after this. Shouldn't be, he says, as 2 more races, 2 quarter-hour races, half-hour total. Just awaiting that server to be launched. And I'm elongating my words to eat up some time, Scotty. Anyway, I think if we can just briefly touch upon, it's not just the Tuesday nights that we have on oNiD. I'm not sure if you can bring up the graphic at all, Scotty, for us, also providing the wonderful cameras. Yes, I love it. God, I love this. Tuesdays, have seen an AC Audi TT Trophy. Wednesdays, however, we'll see the amateurs, the SimHound Academy, partake in LMU and Le Mans Ultimate. Thursday, we are still working for a stream on Thursday, hence why my unplanned absence from just waiting for a new PC to be delivered. We should be back for next week for the final round. But for now, Thursdays will be remaining as non-streamed. Trying to get something to work for our wonderful co-commentator Jarrett Page to take over the broadcasting. It's not looking hopeful until my my hardware deficiency is rectified in the form of a new gaming PC. Sunday we are back at ACC. Unfortunately, no stream on a Sunday. One of our wonderful admin team, unfortunately, are not available to do Sundays, but ACC is racing. If you're signed up, it sounds like you're having a corker of a season. Keep at it. It's a pleasure to have you. And then we return back on Monday of next week for the LMU OLMS series, which again, our wonderful admin Ben Myatt is also doing the stream for, I do believe, and they had a quite eventful race last night as well. However, this is the forgive me for not recording. This is the penultimate week of season 6, isn't it, Scotty? No, it's not. Man, they've just Scotty very much. They've just said no. Stop talking garbage, Aiden. 2 more weeks to go, as we see Watkins Glen tonight, and in round 5 and 6 for Zolder and Club Motorsports on a Tuesday night, which does mean we have 2 weeks left of the season. I've got ahead of myself when I underestimated how many weeks are left. As we said, a full calendar worth of racing. We are on round 4, week 4 of season 6. And then we take a bit of a pause for the festivities, I do believe. I don't think, if I recall correctly, that we have a season 7 lined up, but keep an eye out. It is a festive period coming up. We will have plans for some fun one-off events. Sign-ups, I do believe, will be opening in the very near future. Keep your eyes peeled on the Discord if you're listening in for the first time as well. oNiD. Discord is discord.gg/oNiD Community Racing. Put that into your web browser. Also, there's a hyperlink on our Twitch channel as well. Give that a click. Come and join us. Come and pester us. Come and say hi. It'll be a pleasure to have you. Also, join us on SimGrid, our racing community on SimGrid, hosted by SimGrid is oNiD Community Racing, where you can sign up to all of our events and sign up to any of our races. I think that's about it. Discord, SimGrid. Yeah, that's all the promotions. It's fine. I've got this nailed, Scotty. It's fine. Just about.
Yeah, if you're someone that's maybe a little hesitant on a full season, maybe a little bit busy, do keep an eye out for the socials that are being planned for the run up to Christmas. We've kind of had this awkward little situation this year where we don't have enough time for a season, even a shortened season. But we do have a couple of weeks to fill between the end of season 6 here and the festive holiday period. So yeah, there will be a few socials on all of the Sims, on ACC, on the Mon Ultimate, and of course here on Assetto Corsa, as well as iRacing. Let's not forget that as well. So yes, whatever you're interested in, make sure to keep an eye on SimGrid, keep an eye on our Discord announcements. And yes, as we approach the second half and the end of the month, yes, things will start being announced. Shouldn't be too long now before we get going for our second qualifying session. Remember, a shortened 5-minute session. The drivers should be able to get 3 flying laps in. The question is, can they find some all-important slipstream to try and push themselves a little farther up the grid than they normally would find themselves?
Absolutely. We'll see what they can do. Practice is just underway. What a fantastic aerial shot of Watkins Glen. You can see the full circuit. We're not actually using the full circuit. It goes down to the heel and boot, down the far, well, actually top left of your corners. However, you are just using that shortened circuit without the chicane at the top of the hill. It is a very undulating, hilly circuit. Don't let the aerial shot fool you. As we've seen, there's that massive run up from turn 1, up the hill, through the S's to the top of the circuit. which is one of the highest points, and it eventually winds its way back downhill again, and they have to climb it all over again. We had about 13 laps, if I counted correctly, on the timing tower last time out. So 13 opportunities of overtakes, especially into turn 1. Maybe also look out for the long right-hander at the top of the hill. If you're alongside, you can just about break into that. And then, of course, we saw that fantastic battle in that midfield at the penultimate final turns. They were almost going 3 wide at one point. Do keep your eyes out for those changes of position in race 2 and 3. Still have a qualifying to come, first of all. And I believe we are just starting at qualifying, and the cars are going straight to the circuit for 5 minutes of quali. A bit of a shorter quali session just to shake things up a little bit. Not as many opportunities for drivers to set laps. It can shuffle the order. We have seen it shuffle the order before if they can't get the laps in right. But look out for those slipstream pairings, as Ben has said in the voice channel prior to this qualifying session getting underway. You'll see people willingly or unwillingly help out one another with the tow, especially down this long straight to this long right-hander, and down the start finish as well. There is plenty of opportunity to find time if you can tag along to the rear of another car.
Yeah, usually you see everyone wanting to be first out of the field, make sure there's not a car in front of them, no one to disrupt them on their qualifying laps. But here it is the opposite. Look at this 4-car train coming into the penultimate corner. Jacob just first car at pit exit, but just waiting a little bit, just to let Pivot take lead. Has maybe waited a little bit too long. Pivot's bolted away up front, not fussed on fighting over a bit of slipstream, and has gone straight for some clean air. Let's go on board with Zach Silver, who's in this little train. As you can see, just in front, Stevie Bain going a little bit wide, and this could be lap over already for Zach Silver, who's coming up behind Stevie. Has to lift out. Stevie actually pulling over to left to let him through, not realising he's made that mistake. But too late, Zach's already lifted out, and that speed loss coming up the hill, you know, when you're already down on acceleration because of the hill you're climbing and gravity holding you back.
Yeah,
just
absolute killer.
Little bit of time loss. It's not an ideal way to be starting this session.
No, and most annoyingly now he's got 2 cars behind him, taking him for a bit of a mug really to try and get that slipstream. There's a car going very wide, and that's going to be an invalidated lap. I'm not quite sure who that was, going very wide behind Zach Silver, but they'll be backing out. Indeed they do. And Zach Silver have to go again, but looks to have potentially got a car. Pavo going very wide. That's very much a NASCAR line going through the penultimate turn. He'll probably get flags for that. The game may invalidate his time. It comes to the line, however. Is it going to be a valid lap? Will the game allow it? If it is an improvement, it's not an improvement. It doesn't say a valid time. Actually, we'll have to go again, but with crucially no one ahead of him. Alfie Beavan, however, pole position 113 dead, if my eyes aren't deceiving me, in P1. But that's behind a slipstream. He's got a car ahead of him, giving him that all-needed tow. I just feel like everyone who hasn't got a tow here is going to be vulnerable and not being able to set faster laps than those around them.
There are some extremely close battles in here. Look at some of the gaps. 3,000 separating Ashel and Zach Silver on their opening laps. 100th of a second separating Alex Wood and Anton Kankos. James Pivot, as mentioned, not getting that valid lap in on their first flying lap. Neither did Johan Karlzak here. So both drivers under a little bit of pressure to get a good lap in. Let's look at the sector times. It's Alfie Bevan, unsurprisingly, that's going quickly.
Got that tow. He's got a bit of a double touch. 2 cars ahead of him. He'll feel it in the corners, but the trade-off for that is just so quick on the straights. It doesn't really matter. However, he gets the car turned in reasonably well. This front-wheel drive car is pulling him through. Pavo goes second for 112. Is that a 113.2? Sorry. Alfie goes marginally quicker, still 113 dead, but about 0.05 of a second quicker than his previous best. Karlzak goes to second with Pavo third. Nothing separating them. Even closer between Pavo and Hill third and fourth. They're like a tin of sardines, all squished in to one another, nose to tail, without space to move. Pavo, however, going quicker, personal best, Alfie Beaver now going even quicker than his personal best lap time, just ahead of him as well. Purple sector also for Zach Silver by 0.014 is that? I think I can read on the TV screen as Alfie looks to finish the lap not too far ahead of Pavo here actually, as Pavo is second personal best. Not enough to challenge the top time as it stands, but Alfie has lost time and Silver has found it. We'll keep an eye on those guys as they come to the line, not too far away. Pavo will come to the line. It will be an improvement, potentially not in position, but definitely in time. Never mind, it is enough for the pole position as it stands. However, Zach Silver gets there. And this is now going to be the checkered flag. Where's Alfie?
Alfie's already crossed. He improved. He got himself back in front of Pavot, but was not enough to beat Zach Silver's time. Let's see the final times come in. Ben Beams, who was a little bit late joining the server, is on their first flying lap here. It's going to be their one and only lap to see if they can put themselves in amongst the field. Ben Mites had a bit of a difficult session, only a 1:15.4. They're going to be a bit disappointed by that. And Ben Beams up to P12 overall with a 1:14.156, matching Alex Wood to the 1,000th. 100th quicker than Anton Kankos. That's P5 in the AMS class for Ben Beams there. But just 1,000th more, and it would have been P4. If Anton Kankos had 11,000ths, they would have been P4.
Spicy. Jacob Hines still on the lap. I think he's just going to the final corner now. Indeed. Not an improvement, unfortunately. I think he'll just see the checkered flag just for the sake of it. Comes to the line, does he improve? He doesn't, he stays put.
Yeah, he must have just got to the line before the flag fell. But yeah, Jacob down in P6 after that qualifying session. So yeah, let's run through the order. The starting order for race 2 here after the short 5-minute qualifying session. It is Zach Silver taking pole position ahead of Alfie Bevan. Pavot is in P3, down from their front row starting position last time. Hopefully they can stay ahead of Johan Karlzak this time and fend off them in P4. Ashil is in P5 ahead of Jacob Hine in P6, and it's our other Adam in P7 leading the AMS class. Sean McGardle is right behind in P8. We'll be hoping to get a better start in this race. Stay in front of Steve Bain, who's in the pro class behind those two AM drivers in P9. Courtney Blitz is third in the AMS class, P10. Alex Wood and Ben Beams 11th and 12th, but identical times to the 1,000th of a second and 100th ahead of Anton Kankos in 13th place. Just how tight it is in the AM field. Lucas Smits is in 14th place ahead of Niels Bernson in 15th, and Ben Might struggling in that qualifying session, down in 16th place, but we know he was able to defend well in that first race. Question is, can he attack in this second race?
That question will be answered in a very short period of time. Cars now taken to the grid as they all gridded up for this second race. Now remember that all-important 13th position will determine the pole sitter for race 3 this evening. However, quarter of an hour worth of racing to follow for the second time of asking. We just wait for the lights to come onto the screen and we'll get racing once more.
Not too long to go. It's going to be important not to get involved in any messy racing, any contacts or collisions, as that could drop you out of the reverse grid, which could be devastating for your final race. The lights about to come on now as we get ready for the engines to rise for the second time. Here they come.
And away we go. That is good start for the pole sister. They get away well and hold the outside line. However, they get onto the inside and get position cut across the nose of Alfie. They do as they go down into turn 1. It is Zach Silver that looks going to lead the way from Beaver to Pavot to Chaos out to Hill in the midfield. It's anyone else's game at the minute, almost side by side, the majority of them, as we have a battle for 5th and 6th fighting their way up through the hill. And that's third, fourth, and fifth, should I say. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Almost three. They are three wide in the background. Third, fourth, and fifth almost going three wide as well. And there's already a clear gap between the two. And the leaders have contact. They save it by the miracle of front wheel drive. Puts the foot down as Alfie pulls the car back around into saving it from a spin. But that's going to hurt his chances of fighting for the lead here. I'm sure he'll be back up at it in no time. But he's got cars behind him who also want to try and get to position.
Still fighting for the lead. Zach Silver trying to fend off Pavot and Johan now side by side. Zach a little bit wide through the final corner, causes that little bit of concertina. And look at Alfie Bevan who's coming back. They get tangled and spinning towards the pit wall. Someone gets fired across, and I think that's Pavot who's collected a couple of cars.
Shot, multiple cars. Oh, that's not good. That's going to be a nightmare for race control to review if it does go to post-race stewarding. But that is the leaders taking themselves out. That's put Alfie back up into the lead.
But Ashill's not letting them run away with this in the slipstream. Closing up, has actually opted to bump draft Alfie Bevan just further in front, trying to keep a gap to Johan, who's fallen back after that incident. As they come into the outer loop now, Alfie Bevan running a bit wide. Ashill having a connection issue, unfortunate time. They get reconnected, but definitely we've given Alfie a little bit of a worry there.
There's a flying car going across you. The joys of sim racing when internet decides to not give you the optimum connection, and there wasn't the optimum connection there for, I think, that was McCardle. Being turned around on entry there by another car. I didn't quite see who it was. It might have been actually leader Blitz.
It was Stevie Bean trying to get in front and just tagging him as he turned in for the penultimate corner, and is going to have to pit. How disappointing for Sean. Got up into the lead after a disappointing first race, and now it's sort of all gone down the drain.
I'd be feeling a bit flushed away. I'm sorry. As we get back to more entertaining racing, as there is definitely contact there. That is Adam trying to get back past. That's Blitz for the race lead, but very promptly being very much shown the barrier for going up into the S's. Not being given the space to go alongside. Blitz goes, you know what, I'm going to force the issue. I'm going to chop off your nose, quite literally. Maybe didn't quite realise he was that far alongside. Maybe thought he had the space to just cut back across. A bit of contact, a bit of wall rubbing, and door paint trading between the two. However, the leaders are now at it, and that is Alfie Bevan having now to defend from Ash Hill after the bump draft and Ash was trying to do, maybe trying to create a gap, but realised it's not working. He's got Karolzak not too far behind in that green liveried car. They're going to be wanting to take opportunity if something happens to leaders here. As they go down to turn one nose to tail, I think Ash Hill's buying this time, trying to get slipstream up the main straight to go on the inside on a long right-hander.
I see Corner Blitz still trying to find their way past Adam. They're side by side into the S's now. It looks like with the inside, Corner Blitz has got back into the AMS lead. But now Adam will be in the slipstream all the way up the hill. This driver's already approaching top speed. Slipstream will be quite powerful, just over 200 kilometers now, reaching just over 230. In fact, seen top speed of 243 from Alfie Bevan and Ash Hill as they bump drafted up to the outer loop on that second lap. Bit of a tag in the back end of Adam. They managed to save the slide with the front wheel drive. Scrum Blitz pushing now with the slipstream, both of them using pushed passes as well as men beams just behind. Corona is going to be on the outside for the penultimate corner, but opts to back out of that move that we've seen be quite successful in the first race around the outside of the final two corners.
Indeed, Adam retains that lead. He'll try and get that gap opened up as much as he can, and actually Ben Beams in third position, 7th overall. Maybe coming to Adam's assistance here is to have a look up the inside, and that is two places in a matter of 2 or 3 corners as they fight back on exit, and Krobitz gets to drive out the corner, and the dreaded door bang that we've seen in the mixed cars on stable. They can door bang, but especially not when it's rear quarter panel to front quarter panel. That doesn't quite give the stability that they need when they do want to fight harsh and fair. But for now, it looks like Beam's getting back past. Indeed, he does. Although he goes compromised, goes wide through the final right hand, for the long right hander, should I say, and gets a position back. And it's his second and third for the AMS class. It's not helping them. It's allowing Adam to pull an ever so slight gap just to keep him comfortable for that P5 and overall AMS lead. So he's going to be happy with this. He's going to be saying, yes, fight away, absolutely fine. And he's probably going to be saying that the two cars ahead of him as well. That's Bain and Karolzak, I believe. Was that a lapped car? Because I think Karolzak's car was green. That wasn't a green car. No, I think that's a lapped car.
I think that is... Sean McGardle's just behind that group. Let me see. There's a lot of cars in this little battle. As you can see, Ben Beam's getting themselves back in front of Gruner Blitz with the push pass. Gruner Blitz is a little bit low on their push passes, down to 7. They've certainly been the most aggressive on that button so far this race.
Absolutely.
In the slipstream once again, and will pull to the outside of the outer loop. Is there enough momentum to get the move done? Whereas Ben Beam's going to be able to hold on to P2 here with the inside.
Good hold for now. But then it's going to go wide. It's going to allow Blitz to go along the outside of this penultimate turn. If you can hold it around the outside, keep the car there, it'll be the inside final turn. It's not going to matter actually. Get the move done before the turn in. And that is back up to second in AMS class for Blitz there. But as we said, it's tit for tat. And I can tell you, Ben B's immediately got the slipstream. We'll have a look up the inside. No push to pass yet, just pure run and slipstream for Benny. Gets back up the inside of turn 1. Let's bring in look, Kankos now coming in for the battle as well. And at this point, Adam's loving this in P5, leading the AMS, and is able to just comfortably have a gap over them whilst they wobble amongst themselves.
Yeah, great battle between these two, but a battle that's kicking off towards the front of the field. Johan Karolzak has closed up to Ash Hill, both of them using push to pass up to the outer loop, but the slipstream just getting Johan in front. A little bit wide though through the outer loop. Might allow Ash Hill to come back if Ash Hill has the momentum, but the fight for second in the AMS class still going strong. Gruner Blitz back up to that second place. Ben Beam still holding on to third, but trying to come back, finding the rear bumper of Gruner Blitz, who's moving around quite a bit. Ben Beam's on the inside here, wheel-to-wheel contact there. That's going to allow Kankos to maybe come through. Flash of the headlights from Ben Beam's, not very happy with that defending into the penultimate corner. And Kankos right on the rear bumper as they come across the start-finish line. Just over 6 minutes remaining.
That flash of lights wasn't well done. That's a fantastic move. That was more of a, what the hell are you doing? I want to come past. Another flash of lights again. Potentially not comfortable or slightly unhappy with the defensive moves from Blitzer into the final and first turns. It wasn't braking, it wasn't moving under braking. However, that is a move to the inside. That's going to see them both pit maneuvered round into the wall. And Blitz are potentially unaware of the car on the side of him. It's going to cost him this podium battle for the AMS class.
Drivers looking for space through the S's. While it is easy flat out, you're just sort of swaying from one apex to the other. It's very easy if you just put your nose in to a gap that's going to close to have an incident like that. Fortunately, has cost them. Meanwhile, the fight front, Ash Hill trying to come back on the inside of Johan Karolzak through the penultimate corner. Both of them running a little bit wide. Johan running too wide though, gives second place up. Alfie Bevan now 4-second gap at front. So even having used more of their push passes than these two cars is going to be all right. There was a car that looked like it was heading towards pit lane there. I think that was Pavot. He was already down in last place. Difficult race for them after that early incident, and will means that they will not be in that reverse grid and will be starting at the back of the field for our third and final race.
They will, but as we do enter the final third of this quarter of an hour race, as we see the P2 and P3 side by side once more fighting for position. It's around the outside for Karolzak. Is that push to pass helped? I think it was, as Ashhill did not use a push to pass in defence. Saves one potentially to fight back at another opportunity. Tucks into the slipstream, will no doubt try and stay put. So he gets a bit of a tighter line going through that long right-hander, and that leaves Kawasaki a little bit compromised, goes a little bit deep. As Hill now going to look to the outside. Kawasaki gives him space, and once again they're going to go side by side through the penultimate turn. Who's going to run stupidly wide again? Not both of them actually, they're giving each other space. But Hill just having to yield, trying to get around the outside to be the inside for final turn, not going to work. However, down the order a little bit, this is Zach Silver fighting away with Ben Wyatt. A nice little door tap there as they go through the corner. Nothing malice in that at all, just a bit of door banging. Has Zach Silver feels comfortable running wide, just to be sure he doesn't unsettle the car and cause another incident. However, they all go very wide. Dear Lord. They do have front-wheel drive, so these cars can pull themselves through corners, but they are prone to the odd amount of understeer, even if they do try and impersonate NASCARs. Down into turn 1, it looks like Ben Wyatt's got the position taken from him on braking, and down into 11th position. That'll be P3 for reverse grid, let's not forget, but our P2 and P3 fighters as well, going away at it. Hill dropping the position back to Karolzak as they continue to trade positions like it's a hot potato.
Zach just getting caught behind Lucas Smitzer, and look at that, Ben Wyatt with the momentum comes through on the push to pass and clears both of them. I was a little bit worried we were going to have another instant there up through the S's. Little bump, but thankfully not enough for it to cascade into something bigger. Meanwhile, Ashhill using push to pass down start finish straight on the inside, gets themselves back in front of Johan Karlzak and has one more push to pass than Johan to help them defend that second place, as the Alfa Bevan using one at the moment. Still two more for them to go. Just over 2 minutes. Look at the slipstream though, it's nearly enough to pull Johan alongside even with the push to pass. Will we see any activations here when we get to the top of the hill? Yes, both of them on that push to pass, but with the slipstream it's Johan that has a little bit of momentum at the moment, but they're going to be on the outside by the time we get to the outer loop. Who's going to be braver through the long right-hander? Little bit of a slide, very wide for Johan, but they keep their nose alongside. Not quite. Do they get the momentum though on the exit? Looks like they've slingshotted to will be the outside of the penultimate corner. A move that we haven't seen work in this battle so far, but it worked really well in race 1. Johan, will he try and hang it there? No, has to slot back into line and is now lining up a move for the final corner. Ashhill, no choice but to defend the inside. Johan into the back of Ashhill a little bit, and that's not going to help him make a move. That has forced Ashhill to use a push to pass. Could that cost them when they make the run up the hill to the outer loop, or a little later in the race? That one push pass advantage they have, or had, is now gone.
Yep, and it looks like Kawasak's going to have a move up the inside. Ash can't use a push to pass. He needs to wait for a cooldown period to try and activate it again. He's not served that cooldown period. He's left himself vulnerable a little bit as the Kawasaki jumps on the push to pass straight away. Takes advantage of the fact that Ashhill is left a little bit high and dry. Can't use the push to pass and does indeed tuck back into the slipstream immediately, and will wait and bide his time. Now the shoe is on the other foot. However, actually does have that push to pass advantage now going into this long right hander. He didn't use it going up that hill, so it does actually use it now. Yeah, using it now, so advantage now gone. It's a bit like a game of chess. Who's going to use the push to pass first? Now they can, I say the drivers can see who's using push to pass if they run the right HUD apps. So maybe a bit of tactical element here around the outside. Penultimate turn. Inside for the final. They're still side by side. Kawasaki gives the space. Actually, very respectful racing between these two guys here. Veterans of the AC community here, showing how it's done. And they're still fighting tooth and nail down into turn 1. But I have a feeling Ashhill with the inside line will call trumps on this occasion.
Though Johan is going to have the better exit, the better momentum, and so Ashhill gets on the button to counteract it. Though Johan will have the slipstream to help counteract it, and now uses it when they get to the top of the hill. That'll give them a lot of momentum as they head towards the outer loop. Defending the inside is Ash Hill, but it will be very weak against the momentum that Johan has, and will clear before they get to even past the chicane into the outer loop. Johan now in second place. Both drivers with one push to pass, a little over a lap remaining. 1 lap in 2 corners as they head to the penultimate corner. A little bit of a better run for Ash Hill here, using slipstream. Gets themselves to the inside and uses their final push to pass to take second place. Though you have to imagine that leaves them very vulnerable on this final lap, as they have nothing to defend when Johan uses their final button use.
Yeah, I think they compromised himself a little bit earlier using that push to pass going up the hill. However, Kalzak has... No, he's still got 1 activation left. I do stand corrected. It's just I can't quite see it on my end. But it gets to move done anyway up into P2. Now that's going to leave Ash Hill on the back foot here. He used that push to pass, I think, a little bit early going up the hill on the last lap, on the previous lap, let's say. And yeah, that's just, I think he used it a bit too soon and caught him out. And then Kalzak could just use it a little bit later, using momentum going up them straight. Look at this. It's on now in the final push to pass. It's Kalzak. He's pulling the gap. And it's going to be a big ask for Ash here to try and get that P2.
When you're the driver behind giving away the slipstream, it's always sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Unfortunately, Ash Hill falling short there in that battle for second place. We have battle here for P4 overall. The leader in the AMS class, Adam, fighting with Stevie Bean, who's trying to hang it the long way round of the outer loop. Isn't going to quite work out there. Both of them having used their final push to pass. Stevie is going to get another go, is going to look to the outside of the final corner. Is he going to send it the long way round? Not quite. He's going to fall back into line as Alfie Bevan comes across the line to make it 2 for 2 wins in the win. Johan is taking second with that great fight with Ash Hill through the second half of the race, but Ash still getting onto the podium. Adam will take the win in AMS and a very respectful P4. Stevie trying to fight to the line, just misses out, will take P5 overall. Ben Beam second in the AMS class. Niels Branson getting up to third place on the podium in the AMS class. Anton Kankos just missing out, unfortunately, P8 overall. Zach Silver will come across the line for P9 or 5th place in the Pro class, with Ben Might getting back to the top 10 after that early incident and into P5. They'll be starting P4 with the reverse grid. Lucas Smith and comes across the line last car in the lead lap. Sean McGardle finishing a lap down. Head of Krimlet, Salkswood, Jacob Hine and James Pavot, last 2 finishers in the Pro class.
Yeah.
A very devastating race for them.
Indeed it was. All important, as you said, at 30th position, Blitz. Or will be on pole for the final race, and Pavot giving a bit of a weave as he goes through the final turn. And knowing that he's probably had a bit of a torrid race, he'll try and get back up on top again and promptly puts it into the barrier just for good measure. Now, like any good commentator, I just have to step away from my microphone very quickly, Scott. We'll be right back with you, but reverse grid will be interesting with quite a bit on pole. Ricardo Smith Might, your top 4. I will be back in a very brief moment.
Hopefully back in time for the final race, which will not be too long, only a few minutes now as we have the final results. It is Alfie Bevan that has taken them inside. Johan Karlzak in second, Ash Hill in third, Adam in fourth, has Stevie Bean in fifth, Ben Beams in P6, Niels Barnson in seventh, Anton Kankos in P8, Zach Silver P9, Ben Myatt in rounds out our top 10. Lucas Smits is in 11th, have Sean McGardle in 12th. Disappointing race for them with that early collision. Same can be said for Chrono Blitz, so they'll be starting on the front row of the upcoming third race. Alex Wood misses out on the reverse grid race, as well as Jacob Hine and James Lipovo, who will have a lot of work to do in this final race to come. That's not quite the right results. But we will go through our... Yeah, so there are the results back. Our grid then for the third and final 15-minute plus one lap race. Blitz will be on pole position. Sean McArdle in second. They'll be hoping to stay out of trouble this time. Should be a bit easier from the front row, though with the slipstream up towards the outer loop through the S's. Never say never. Lucas Smith will be in third, have Ben Matt on the second row, Zach Silver in P5, Anton Kankos in P6. Niels Bernson in the middle will be starting in 7th place with Ben Beams in P8, Stevie Bain in 9th, Adam in 10th, Ashil from 11th, Johan Karlzak in 12th, and our double race winner so far this evening, Alfie Bevan, trying to make it 3-4-3, will have to do so from 13th position. Behind them, Alex Wood will be in 14th, trying to make up whatever falls apart in front of them, trying to take advantage of any instance. We've had a couple in both races so far. I have to imagine there's still going to be at least one with this reverse grid race. They'll be looking to take advantage, but more importantly, so will Jacob Hine and Pavot, starting from the last row of the grid. Not too long before we get racing for the final time here tonight. How much chaos will unfold? Who can keep it clean, stay out of trouble? Who will have a disappointing end to their evening? Who'll make full advantage of the reverse grid? Who can make up for a disappointing second race? About 30 seconds till we get going here for the final race, and it promises to be a good one.
Yes, indeed. I am back. That's fine. Interesting start to the grid as well, with P13 now being occupied on that P13 finisher. We'll see what the leaders can do. As we've seen prior, it has been somewhat hectic for those leaders to get back through the field. For the final time this season, the 6 lights will come onto the screen, and we'll see the cars get away now as they now start the race. Pole position looks to get away well as we see Blitz and McArdle go almost side by side. I believe it is Blitz that leads the way, so we're just waiting for the timing tower to update just to confirm that. Indeed it is, as we see them all go through the first turn, almost nose to tail, almost 3 wide at points. It's Blitz. McArdle leads the way. Might briefly was up to third, gets overtaken again for back down to P4, 5th and 6th, fighting away 7th, 9th and 10th, 2 by 2. That's Beans, Karlzak, Brenston and Bain all fighting away for position, almost 3 wide in the background. Ben Myatt goes wide in P4 ever so slightly, gets a run, but the leaders are also having a run on each other as well, as McArdle gets up into the lead using a push to pass, getting past Blitz on the first lap, and Ben Myatt in the background also using a push to pass to try and get past P4. Zach Silver, however, they all go a bit deep. They all gather it back up again as they get back onto the acceleration and front wheel drive, punting them through. Karlzak up into 9th already, peeling his way through the field, and almost 2 by 2 up ahead as well.
Look at the field as they make their way to the penultimate corner. Blitz might be in the lead. Oh, Ben Myatt with contact there in the middle of the pack. Oh, unfortunately comes across and collects Alex Wood, who spins into the middle of the pack. And once again, we mentioned there'd likely be a crash, and there it is, just unfortunate sort of skittling across the track. Not much the midfield could do. Ben Myatt dives to pit lane to repair damage there. But yet, a disappointing start for some of our drivers. And it looks like more contact at T1. Zach Silver, I think, getting involved there with Sean McArdle. And then look at this. Blitz making a run away at the lead as everyone else fights over second behind.
Indeed, they are held up to 7th as they try and find positions. However, in the back, going very wide. That was P5 and 6 by Smith and Kankos. Now getting positions 3 wide and down the main straight. There's just enough space in each one of them as McArdle gets a fantastic run, push to pass assisted, up into the second position. But it's actually losing it back again as they get onto the brakes.
Stevie Bain using a bit of the grass there to get themselves up to second place. Will be looking to hold on as Zach Silver chases him down. Looks to the inside to Zach for the penultimate corner. But Stevie hanging it round the outside will hold on for now into the final corner. Sean McArdle trying to come back here. He's going to try and send it a long way around Zach Silver, or he's going to slot into line as now that actually compromises him. Allows Anton Kankos to get alongside, who's going to try and fight both of them on the push to pass. Will close them in on Zach Silver. Hopefully they won't get backed up, but Sean McArdle slotting in front as Kankos has to slot back into line very wide through the opening corner for those drivers, as Alfie Bevan still down in P12, getting caught up in that opening lap instant, setting the fastest lap of the race. Lucas Smits with a good run up through the S's side by side. That's a brave move, but looks like it's paid off for them now.
Give each other space and you'll be fine. Push the pass, helping Luca as Kankos also losing another position down to Pavot as well. Getting a little bit mugged here is those two drivers. As Pavot actually manages to get around the outside and challenges for fifth, actually gets fifth, and that is 2 positions gained for him.
Zach Silver making a move on the exit of the outer loop on Stevie Bain, using a push to pass to do so. Stevie now on the rear bumper of Zach Silver entering the penultimate corner. Zach running a little bit wide. Is going to have to defend the inside through the final corner. Stevie swoops around the outside and takes the position. Very authoritative move there. And it's got them P2 for now. But Zach Silver in the slipstream as they head towards T1 is going to try and make a counter-attack. Looks to the inside now. Sends it in under braking. Can Stevie maybe get a cutback? No, finds the rear bumper of Zach Silver. Nowhere to go. That's going to compromise their momentum. Look at the car. Sean McArdle pulling up as a couple of cars wide there in the background as all the push to pass sliding up on the timing tower, and there's barely anything separating the drivers as they come up the hill. They're closing in on Chronoblitz a little bit as well. Stevie being 2/10 quicker than Chronoblitz, Zach Silver half a second quicker. So Chronoblitz leading for now, but maybe not necessarily having the pace, especially without any slipstream, to stay at the front as Sean McArdle tries to challenge Stevie Bain round the outside of the outer loop here. Is it going to work out? Not quite. Actually, he's going to allow Pavot to try and make a move here, but Pavot without the momentum on the exit, slipstreaming Stevie Bain. A little bit of bump drafting too as they come towards the penultimate corner for Sean McArdle, but as they have to back out for the penultimate corner, Pavot is going to try and make the move around the outside and will get the move done. Still in second place of the AMS class for Sean McArdle as Chronoblitz still continues to lead the way overall and in the AMS class, of course.
I don't dare comment on the positions here, especially when this place. They're chopping and changing, going up and down like they're in an elevator. I don't say anything unless out of fear of it changing once more. At the minute, Blitz is definitely leading. However, it is, there we go, fourth and fifth trading positions, and it's McArdle, Pavot, and Smits. Sorry, third, fourth, and fifth. It's Bain, McArdle, and Pavot, should I say, all trading positions. I don't say anything, just in the fear of something changing. However, there's now been a change in lead for the Blitz. Now getting passed by Zach Silver with a bit of assist from push to pass. Stephen Bain activating the push to pass as well, but has lost positions to McArdle and Pavot in the matter of a few seconds.
As they come through the outer loop, Sean McArdle trying to fight on here. He wants to stay in this battle that is growing closer and closer to Chronoblitz in front. Thinking about that AM lead, and Chronoblitz using a push to pass here. It's going to try and retake the lead of the race from Zach Silver with the inside into the penultimate corner. Gets the move done, but it's going to have to defend the inside of the final corner. Zach Silver going to try and hang it the long way round. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, and Zach Silver has to give way on the outside. Look at that train in the background. They're closing in more and more as they head towards T1 now. Zach Silver looking to the inside. Will try and get the move done, just like they made a move a couple of laps ago into T1, and that's compromised Chronoblitz, who's now going to come under pressure from Pavot, who themselves is under pressure from Sean McArdle and Stevie Bain, as Kankos involved in an instant at T1. A lot of chaos. I think Alfie Bevan also involved, trying to find a bit of space to turn around. Very unfortunate for Kankos there, dropping down the order. But look at this fight for the lead. 5 cars lining up in this fight.
Dear Lord, you're not going to get this anywhere else. This is the joy of one-make racing. It's so tight, it can be so tight between everyone in the field. It's just a matter of who's got the biggest kahunas, let's say, to make the moves and gain positions. It is a 5-wide battle at the minute. McArdle dropping down to third, Blitz dropping down to fourth, actually. It's completely mugged going up that main straight, and loses the lead with Pavot now taking it, with Zach Silver fighting with him as we speak.
So Pavot into the lead now, Zach Silver second, Sean McArdle lead of the AMS class in third, Stevie Bain fourth. Chronoblitz has dropped to the back and looks to be dropping off the tail end of the field a little bit. Grab going as Lucas Smits is starting to catch up. Look at that, Lucas Smits 1.1 seconds quicker than Chronoblitz last lap. Zach Silver down the inside of T1 trying to retake the lead, has done so, using a push to pass on the exit to try and extend that margin. Pavot gets on the button as well, but waits that little bit to try and use the slipstream advantage and not get the run too early to be boxed in on the S's. A little behind, Sean McArdle and Stevie Bain fighting over the final podium place, as Sean defending the inside there. Pavot, sorry, with the momentum of that later pushed pass and the slipstream, retakes the lead before they get to the outer loop. Stevie Bain trying to take third back on the outside of the outer loop here. Sean McArdle slots back in and allows Stevie to take that position. Probably not fighting too much now that they've got the lead of the AMS class, but Stevie a little bit wide on the exit, maybe giving an opportunity here to Sean, but Sean, looking to the outside, isn't going to commit to a move into the penultimate corner.
I wouldn't rule out Blitz here down in P4. I know he was leading, maybe just taking it easy and letting everything else unfold out ahead of him. He's got another 6 minutes, and in terms of this race, that's quite a few laps for him to potentially capitalise on the mistakes of those people up ahead. Alfie Bevan, he's got damage. He's had a torrid race. He's struggling down in 11th. Can't even get past Ash Hill with that amount of damage. I don't think that's going to be helping him. That car looks a bit second-hand, let's say, and will potentially benefit from maybe a bit of repairs. Unfortunately, not another race this evening for him to gain any more points. As we, however, jump back up to the top four, we'll see that Bain and McArdle fighting side by side. McArdle got the run, as also up ahead, Silver and Pavot fighting away from the lead. It's 2 by 2 as they go down into the long right-hander. We'll see who figures out who wants to be where. McArdle gets ahead just about of Steve Bain. However, Steve Bain's got to run back up the inside, will become the outside for the penultimate turn. If he can hold it around the outside of the penultimate turn, it'll be the inside line for the final turn. He'll get that position back. Let's just stick with it just to see if he can do anything. Meanwhile, the leaders are very much doing the same, as Silver gets back past Pavot for position. McArdle will hold the inside line here, however, for P3 goes wide, opens the door for Stevie Bain to try and potentially look around the outside, and indeed he does. Keeps it there. They both get each other space, apart from that little love tap on the exit, and Stevie Bain realises getting the move done, and McArdle realises that is move done and dusted, as Pavot gets back up the inside of Zach, but then Zach returns the favour, and P3 and P4 equally running wide, and P5, we said, Blitz, not too far behind, is ready to collect the spoils of war if anything does happen between these drivers, and he's very much still within this battle.
All of them using push to pass up the hill of the S's. Key thing to note, Pavot has the most out of anyone here, as that is Lucas Smits and Alex Wood getting involved in a collision from the podium place of the AMS class, facing the wrong way. Have to wait for the last few cars in the train to get past Alfie Bev and Johan Karlzak, who aren't too far away from each other. Zach Silver back into the lead, but with 3 less pushed passes than Pavot. Stevie Bain still finds Sean McArdle. Sean McArdle with a 1 pushed pass advantage. Krona Blitz down to only 3 remaining. Just under 4 minutes of this race remains.
I think Krona's realised that he's used those push to passes way too soon at the start of the race. It's cost him. I think P3 very much on for him if he can keep it there. Depending on what the leaders do as well, if they keep on fighting, come up to blows with one another, as I said, I think at this point he's just waiting to see what he can take from the spoils of these guys fighting, as they are continuing to fight side by side. McArdle and Bain give each other space, and Cronenberg's just filling up ring rows, thinking, hi guys, I'm here, keep on fighting, let's see what I can get.
Oh, looking to get alongside in the S's. That is a little bit risky. Does get alongside Sean McArdle. Thankfully not making it 3 wide, which I thought he was going to try for a little moment with the slipstream. Sean McArdle gets back alongside Stevie Bain, as you can see. Dead heat for the lead as they come towards the outer loop. On the outside, Zach Silver in front, but Pavot on the inside. It looks like Zach Silver is going to carry the momentum on the outside and is going to hold the lead for now. Further back, Sean McArdle falls down to 5th overall. Krona Blitz taking the lead in AMS. Stevie Bain trying to break away from this battle.
Like candy from a baby is Krona Blitz right now. He'd be quite happy with that, I think, getting a position, just letting those two guys fight one another, and then is able to capitalise. However, Pavot back up the inside of the final turn as we go down to the start finish rate. Just under now 2.5 minutes to go. It's anyone's game for who we think is going to win the race, and P3, 4 and 5 again. It's totally up in the air. It could be any one of those 3 drivers.
braking late on the inside of Zach Silver. Pavot going for a cutback, hasn't quite got the nose alongside as they head into the S's. We'll have to wait, maybe a little too close here for against Zach Silver. As they come up over the hill, both of them then on the push to pass when they get to the top of the hill. Pavot with the slipstream will pull to the outside, has the momentum. Their push to pass runs out a little bit sooner. Zach Silver will still have the inside, only has the nose there though, and Pavot able to turn in will take the lead. Maybe runs a little bit wide on the exit. Zach Silver with a good run on the inside, a surprisingly good run on the inside, will draw level again as they head towards the penultimate corner. On the outside for Zach Silver, as a little bit of contact in the braking zone onto the grass for Zach Silver. He gathers it up using the runoff and will carry on there. Luckily still in second, but a little bit of contact.
As Baz said, the rest of the field, third, fourth, fifth, too far behind to capitalise. We said they might come together, and they have, and that gap has opened up very slightly. Zach Silver will now try and close it back up. I think, if I can see that correctly, Pavot, however, has a push-to-pass advantage. Maybe not now.
It does still, using one now up the hill. 3 more still than Zach Silver, but time is running out. This could be the penultimate lap, but looks like we'll still have 2 more laps after this. Sean McArdle still fighting for that lead in the AMS class. Heading up to the outer loop using the slipstream. Chronoblitz has used their final push to pass now. Sean McArdle still with 2 remaining. Looks set to be taking this AMS win, but you can imagine Chronoblitz with the slipstream will not be giving up as they head.
Won't be now.
Head towards the penultimate corner now. Chronoblitz not quite close enough this time.
Thinks about making a move later on the brakes, actually, into the penultimate turn. The inside line has been given space, and they're side by side as they come to the entry of the final corner. If Chrono just stays in the slipstream, I know he's used up all his push to passes, but if he just stays in the slipstream, he'll still have a shout at this AMS lead. And Jacob Pine close behind him, however, might spur his spamming works. Not for class position, but getting the car in between him and the guys fighting for that class win is going to be somewhat difficult if that happens. Now going on to the last lap.
Chronoblitz stuck in a difficult position. No push to pass for this final lap now. This race
is hurting.
Yeah, this race going 1 lap shorter means that Jacob Hine, who still has 3 more uses, using one up the hill, can be very aggressive. Basically, once that cooldown is done, can use another on the exit of the outer loop, maybe 1 more on the run to the line should there be a drag race. Is closing up here through the outer loop, just waiting for that cooldown to pop off. And then, as you can see, on the button once again, in the slipstream towards the final corner. Which way will they go? Chronoblitz trying to squeeze into the inside, but Jacob already with the nose on the inside, a bit late defending, and Jacob will get the position, P5 overall, as meanwhile at the front, James Pavot with the victory and push to passes to spur. Zach Silver will take second as Alfie Bevan, Johan Karlzak fighting through the final corners over 8th position. Not a place you expect these two to fight, but caught up in an early collision. It'll be Johan that takes P8 at the end. Alfie Bevan P9. That is 5th and 6th within the pro class.
Can we breathe? Just about, can't we? Smits, Meyer and Wood all still in the pits, unfortunately, after being involved in earlier collisions. Unfortunately, we won't see the checker flag. However, the last driver to do so would be Brinston coming around the final turn now, and almost out of the pits. Gives us a bit of tomfoolery and says, you know what, I'm not going to go to the pits. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to see the checker flag properly, as he does do so. However, unfortunately, the Smits and Myatt and Wood. Actually, Smits has made it back out onto the circuit for the final tour round, but we'll see the checkered flag. It just extends this session a little bit, but the 40th position will be all he can do, as he is just going to see one last tour round, just to say, you know what, I might have had a shocking race. I'm going to take this final lap. I'm going to have a lap of glory just because I can.
Yeah.
As we take a moment to reflect on what was a very hectic race.
Very hectic indeed. I think AC collisions getting the better of some battles are unfortunately little rubs that you'd absolutely get away with in real life. Just a little bit more of a ping pong effect, you could say, here. Unfortunately, ruining some of our battles, but still plenty of great racing, especially for the lead, not just overall in this final race, but also for the lead in the AMPS class. You can see Pavot avoided that opening lap crash on the final corner, and doing so allowed them to come from last on the grid all the way to the final race victory. What a way to make up for it, especially when Alfie Bevan down in P6 in the class will definitely help them close up and make up for a disappointing race. So I suppose Alfie Bevan winning the second race and Pavot being 8th seventh within the class.
Yeah.
Just kind of makes it a bit even. And really, Pavot still has lost out a few points. That gap just opening up at the front of the championship.
Indeed it has. And my oh my, what a final race for the evening. Pavot takes a win. And that was from Silver, Bain, McCardle, 4th overall, but that race win will be very well welcomed for him. Hind 5th is splits 1st and 2nd in the AMS class, splits in 6th, who was leading the majority of this race. Adam 7th, Karzak 8th, Beaven 9th, Hill 10th, Brenston 11th, Beams 12th. That is Kankos 13th, Smiths 14th, and Myatt and Wood, unfortunately, not seeing the checkered flag and out of the race for this final quarter of an hour race this evening after quite a massive shunt on the second lap.
A very hectic final race to the evening. Very hectic races all around here at Watkins Glen, but maybe that's to be expected a little bit with just how fast the circuit is, how flat out and long those straights were. Yeah, certainly chaos. It'll be chaos again next week, I imagine, but of a different regard. As we head to Zolder, not as much flat-out section, but plenty of chicanes, especially that first one, as the cars will be bouncing over the curbs. Very interested, very looking forward to seeing the cars up on 2 wheels, if any wheels, depending how aggressive they get on the curbs, for what will be our penultimate round of the SimHound Audi TT Trophy. Definitely championships starting to come to a close as we head towards the end of November here. Will be interesting to see how the drivers fare with just a couple of rounds to go.
Absolutely jam-packed one-make racing at its finest. Push to passing, Slipstream was the name of the game tonight. So we'll give them a different type of challenge. They'll be able to race alongside, I'm sure, but at points in that circuit will be quite narrow. Only space, and maybe 2 abreast, not like the 3 or 4 abreast we've seen this evening. It'll potentially be a different pace of racing, let's say, a bit more patient racing needed from everyone here this evening. Zelda next week, and then for the final week in 2 weeks' time, Club Motorsports for the final round of the SimHound Audi TT Trophy. As mentioned, we do have other leagues happening on oNiD Community Racing. Season 6 still has a lot to pack. Wednesday, tomorrow will be the Academy. Thursday, iRacing will be going to the Club Challenge in the Mazda MX-5s, and then ACC on Sunday, with Monday being return to LMU. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely stream. Thursday, bit of a question mark. We'll see what we can do. But for now, Thursday may be out of the question for this stream this week. We will be back, however, next week for Thursday nights, all being well, as a certain someone, i.e. myself, will have a new PC by that point who can actually run iRacing and stream it to Twitch. Until then, technical issues galore. Scotty, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for tonight. It's been wonderful to be alongside you for this week's worth of racing here at Watkins Glen. We've said it once, we've said it again. Chaos, reverse grids, slipstream, push to pass. If we set those, if we had a counter for every time we set those, if we had a pound for every time we set those, I'm sure we would be millionaires. Unfortunately, this is sim racing, but we still get to bring you all the action on a Tuesday night And we'll be back at the same time and same place next week for round 5 of 6. Scotty, any final words before we head off?
If it was a drinking game, I think we'd be absolutely plastered. But
I'm not drunk.
But yeah, fantastic evening. It is a little bit of shame with the collisions, but hey, sometimes it can't be helped. We still got some great racing. Yeah, looking forward to some very different racing. Bit more like the start of the season at Zolder. Should still be some great fun.
Absolutely. And once again, join us on Discord, join us on SimGrid. Discord.gg/oNiD Community Racing, and go to SimGrid, search for oNiD Community Racing. Come and say hi, come and pester us, and or watch out for those festive one-offs after season 6. Folks, it's been a pleasure. My name's Aidan. It's been a pleasure to be with Scotty this evening in the comments booth. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care, look after one another, and continue racing. Take care. Bye-bye.